Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Downsized. My name is Christopher Durham.
I'm Laraine Durham.
And as I said, we are the Downsized. This is another in our continuing series of conversations, Q&As about hot topics that are going on in the world of GLP-1s. And today's topic is holiday eating.
I like holiday eating.
GLP-1s versus holiday eating. Who wins? How do you cope with it? What do you do? The whole 9 yards. To start with, let's talk about our journeys a little bit in case you haven't watched.
Right. Why? What do we know? I've lost 50 pounds on compounded tirzepatide. So compounded tirzepatide is the same ingredient that's in Mounjaro and Zepbound. I'm currently in maintenance. I've been maintaining now for a couple months. We've been on this journey a little over a year now. And how much have you lost, Christopher?
I have lost 86 pounds. I started out at 286.5. My goal weight is 190, so I'm almost under 200. So we'll probably go live when we do that. Who knows?
Woohoo! My starting weight was 193. I'm now at 143, and I'm 5'4" 55-year-old mom of three, 56-year-old husband.
Yes.
And dad.
And dad. Yes.
Dad of all three. So.
But yeah, so I have been on compounded tirzepatide, Mounjaro, and Zepbound, all the same active ingredients. They're medications. They've all worked well for me. And we're coming up on Thanksgiving, of course. We started at the end of September last year, so just before the holidays.
Right.
So early on, 2.5, 5.0 doses of medications, and they were working very well. This will be our second Thanksgiving, our second Christmas, our second New Year's. So we wanted to take a few minutes and talk about holiday eating.
Yeah, and last year over Thanksgiving, I lost 1.8 pounds the week of Thanksgiving. That was so crazy. That's never happened to me before.
Start out then, Laraine, and tell me, historically, what has been your relationship with a holiday meal, a Thanksgiving dinner?
It's been a lot of eating, a lot of pretty much nonstop eating, and eating to the point where I felt a fullness that I never experienced usually on a day-to-day basis. So because I have the disease of obesity, my brain doesn't get the signal that I'm full. My stomach doesn't signal my brain that I'm full. And my brain is also signaling me to constantly eat and look for food. A lot of people call this food noise. So at other Thanksgivings, it was just like, wow, there's all this food and I want to eat it all and it's fantastic and let's see how much I can fit in my body at lunch and then again for dinner and then again the next day. And before you know it, I've gained X number of pounds, 5, 10, I don't know. How's Thanksgivings in the past been for you, Christopher?
Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday. A lot of people will say, I like Christmas, I like Halloween, I like April Fool's Day. You pick your favorite holiday.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday by a long shot because for me growing up, it was always the opportunity for everybody to get together and talk and chat, and there wasn't a lot of stress. There wasn't gifts. It was just gathering.
You have a big family.
And so I have a twin brother, and then I have 6 brothers and sisters as well. So there's 8 of us total. And my father had a couple of sisters. My mother had a couple of brothers. We always had a lot of folks around. And then as I got old enough and learned how to cook, just the act of cooking Thanksgiving dinner is the thing that I want to do the most every year. It's my favorite thing to do. So that we will travel and go see other relatives, but if I had my preference, I would stay home and I would cook dinner and everyone would come to us. Everyone, you come if you want.
And he's a really good cook. So over the years, I think he's just perfected some dishes. We've been married 21 years. I guess when we were first married, we'd have to go to multiple houses for Thanksgiving because that's what you do when you're young. And it's nice to be able to celebrate with everybody. And now, 21 years later, we're going to go to my parents this year for Thanksgiving and then home, and then you'll cook a Friendsgiving for some of our friends. It's a nice holiday to spend time with friends.
And the Thanksgiving meal is my favorite meal.
If the food included in the
my last meal would be turkey and dressing.
Yeah.
turkey and dressing. That's what I want. Everything else is, I'll eat all of it, but turkey and dressing is my two favorite things.
I don't think that would be my last meal, but no, I know that's definitely your favorite meal.
And I would eat, past the point of fullness, to the point of you're like,
oh yeah, to the point of you can't move. Like that, isn't that kind of the point of Thanksgiving? Stuffing yourself silly? It doesn't have to be. You don't have to stuff yourself silly.
Talk to me then about last year, the first year on the medication for Thanksgiving.
I guess I just approached it. And last year at Thanksgiving, we did not tell our family, our children. I don't think we told anybody that we were on these weight loss shots, because we were, is this really going to work? We're not sure. What's everybody going to say? Everybody's going to have an opinion on it. And we just weren't ready to talk about it. We had Thanksgiving at our house last year, and you cooked, and you made all the usual things.
Yep.
And I just remember, and we usually serve it buffet style. I'm pointing to our kitchen. I know you can't see our kitchen. It's over there. We just put all the food out, and everybody just serves themselves what they want. So I was just conservative, and I just took very small portions, but I wanted all the things. I like those things you can't have, or you don't typically eat during the year. Sweet potato casserole and the stuffing and the turkey and the gravy. So I just took small portions of all the things and went to my seat, and we were talking, we were having fun. I ate most of what was on my plate, and I was full. Usually I would get back up, get some more turkey, get some more sweet potatoes, get some more stuffing. And then, so I only got one plate full, and we sat for a little while, and we decided it was time for dessert. And I love pumpkin pie. We only really have it on Thanksgiving. So I had, I think, a small sliver of pumpkin pie. I don't remember. Oh, and you made the apple tart. Mm-hmm. He makes a great apple tart. And you also made the pecan tart. Mm-hmm. Those are two especially the pecan tart, very decadent desserts. And I think I had small slivers of 3 of those, which was probably then to the point I was like, ugh. but I ate much less. And we usually eat Thanksgiving in the afternoon. So I think we ate around 1 or 2. Mm-hmm. And then for dinner, usually we pull back all the food out around 6 or 7 and go for another round. And I don't think I could eat. I just was like, I cannot put any more food in. I don't think I ate anything else for the rest of the night.
Yeah, and for me, we have regularly 30 people, 20 people, depending on what year it is, for Thanksgiving. And I like to cook. It's a challenge to me to cook. It's something to overcome, and I enjoy it. And I like to make sure that everyone's attending has that thing that's special to them. Consequently, that means it is starch-a-palooza. There is so much. Sweet potatoes, macaroni and cheese, mashed potatoes. Rolls. Some years my brother comes and he likes rice. And so there's just, there's more starch than anything else. But this past year on the medications, like, we hadn't told anybody. So it wasn't, nobody really noticed. But I ate a small thing of turkey and a small thing of dressing. And I don't really care about the pies or any of that kind of stuff. And I was done. I was like, I can't do any more at all. And I think we both lost weight that week, right?
Yeah, I lost 1.8. I went back to my spreadsheet tracker. And there's been years I've gained 10 pounds between Halloween and New Year's. It's always been a very difficult time of year for me prior to GLP-1s, because I just have so much food noise through all of my life up until GLP-1s. I had so much food noise, and I didn't know that other people had food noise. I just thought I was just wanted to eat all the time. I was constantly putting off when I could eat again. I was trying to space out my food such that I wasn't constantly eating. It was always a battle.
To me, the challenge of this is, it seems like Thanksgiving, maybe Christmas to a lesser extent, is the one time when it's socially acceptable for people to peer pressure you to eat more.
Oh, yeah.
My grandfather, God rest his soul, fabulous man, you walked into his house and he would see everybody, and what did my grandfather say?
Feed them babies.
Right, and they would walk around. My grandma would walk, you need another You need some more of those chicken and
I
dumplings?
made your favorite chicken and dumplings. I'd be like, ooh.
Yeah, so it's just, and you don't want to tell your grandma no, you don't. So it's a challenge. It for sure is. And sometimes it's a polite sidestep and shuffle of, sure, grandma, I'll take this. And then you just move it around your plate. I don't really eat it, honestly.
Yeah. I remember one Weight Watchers I went to years ago around Thanksgiving, and there was a gentleman in there that had lost over 100 pounds just on Weight Watchers. This was probably, 15 years ago. And he was talking about how at Thanksgiving he just firmly said no to his relatives that had offered him food. And I was so impressed by that and also taken aback by that, because I don't think I could just blatantly tell a relative, no, I'm not going to eat that food. You know what I mean? I'm more of the type where I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm more likely to take a little piece and eat it. And also keep in mind that your grandma and grandpa that we're talking about, they're not here anymore.
No.
People aren't going to be around forever. And Thanksgiving is one day, and you have to decide how you want to approach it. And there's no right or wrong answer, but you have to figure out what you want to do.
Let's talk about that for a minute. So it's, I think, critically important for you to say, before you get to wherever you're going, your house, your grandma's house, wherever, to have a game plan in your head. Doesn't mean the game plan you can't make a game time decision and change things up, but to understand what your expectations are around your weight, around eating. How do you approach that?
Yeah, I go back to some Weight Watchers tricks, and one of them was to make sure you start off Thanksgiving Day with a good breakfast. So for me, that means a high protein breakfast. It probably means a Greek yogurt, or if the stove's available, some scrambled eggs, or maybe hard boil some eggs in advance, or maybe even just a protein bar if you're just busy and you're on the go. But make sure you don't start off the day starving. And I don't really ever get starving on a GLP-1 anymore. You do want to maintain a level of satiety or whatever. So that will prevent you from possibly overeating.
So that's a great tactic. Let's move it up a step though. When you're driving to grandma's house, what's your expectation? What do you think is going to come out of this? So are you planning on gorging yourself? Are you planning on saying no? Is your goal to lose, gain, maintain? What higher level?
It's hard. I guess my goal for this year is to maintain. I have a feeling it's probably going to be a gain. And either way, that's okay. I'm not expecting to lose weight this year on Thanksgiving. I'm not approaching it like hardcore. I'm not going to eat this and this. So this year, and last year I was more focused. But I'm at my goal weight now. I've been maintaining a goal weight, and I still have some good appetite suppression. I'm on the 7.5 milligram dose of compounded tirzepatide. I took my shot on Thursday, so I won't take my shot on Thanksgiving, which is a Thursday. I'll take my shot that Friday. So that's my plan. I'll be at the end of the half-life of the dose, so I will be a little bit hungrier. I will be able to eat a little bit more, and I've planned for that. Now I could say, oh, I'll take my shot Thanksgiving morning and pretty much not be able to eat, but I don't want to do that either. So I want to be able to eat small portions of the things that I like, enjoy the time with my family, and maybe have a few indulgences that I don't get to have every day. My sister makes great chocolate chip cookies.
She has a secret recipe. It's on the Nestle Toll House bag.
Yeah, but the way she makes them is really good. They're really good. And she always brings them to Thanksgiving. And in years past, I have found myself going one after the other, just eating the chocolate chip cookies. And last year, I found that I could eat one and be like, oh, that was good. And they did not then keep calling to me from the container on the counter.
Well,
so just things like that, where I'm just really gonna give myself a little leniency to enjoy the day, enjoy the things I don't have every day, but still focus on really small portions. Like really don't take big amounts of anything.
You can always go back for more.
Always
is
go back
is
for
the real
more.
key.
Yeah.
And give yourself some leniency. So these medications are a medical treatment for the disease of obesity or type 2 diabetes. They're not diets. Okay, we don't ban any foods from our repertoire, period. We will eat
Well, my sister is a vegetarian.
Right, that's a her choice, not a me
Yeah.
choice. And if that's what works for you, that's great. But we don't ban anything. And these medications give you the freedom and the agency to not feel guilty about things, to not measure your worth by what you eat, to not beat yourself up over it. As you're approaching the holidays, begin to find that mindset of what you want to accomplish with those holidays. And say, if you want to eat a little more, eat a little more. If you don't want to eat a little more, don't eat a little more. But don't walk in blind and have it all surprise you. Spend a little bit of time thinking about it.
Yeah. Also, remember all those years I ran 5Ks on Thanksgiving?
Yep.
I did. There was probably, 3 or 4 years I ran a 5K.
Drove me crazy.
He would, and my mom was like, I'm cooking. Like, what do you mean you're going to go run a 5K?
I didn't have time to go. Yeah,
I'm cooking. What do you mean you're going to go run a 5K? One year, my sister and brother-in-law and their 2 boys and myself and me all ran a 5K. So we left, like my mom and dad and Christopher here, and we all went and ran this 5K. And it was a lot of fun. And we came back, and it was good to get some exercise in. Even when we went to Charleston one year, I decided that I was going to run in downtown Charleston a 5K on Thanksgiving. I was
drove me crazy.
But I really felt I knew I was going to be eating a lot, and I wanted to burn off some calories pre-dinner. And that was really when I was into the whole running half marathons and the triathlons and all that stuff. Like, I was really focused on trying to out-exercise my diet, and I could never do it because it's impossible. And so now I've gotten more of a balance to where, thanks to GLP-1s, I can eat regular portions, for lack of a better word, like more normal portions, and I don't feel compelled to constantly exercise because I know that my eating is in check. My eating is under control, so I don't have to go to extremes with exercise.
So I think it's interesting because honestly, that whole running era of your life, particularly on the Thanksgiving day, I always felt like you were just punishing yourself.
Pretty much. I mean, it was, you're going to eat, you better get out there and, run these 3 miles, because otherwise, you're just going to gain weight. Thanksgiving was an automatic weight gain day for me. Automatic. Did not matter. Even some of the years when I was running, I could definitely out eat any exercise that I would do.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah, no, it was easy, but I couldn't control my food.
A piece of pumpkin pie is going to knock out a 5K pretty quick.
Yeah, you burn about 100 calories a mile, so it's 3.2 miles, 300 calories. Piece of pumpkin pie, plus all your Thanksgiving foods you could easily add up to 1,000 calories right there. I wasn't burning anything off, and you can talk about the effects of calorie burn after you stop exercising or whatever, but it's not 1,000 calories. It was just something, I couldn't control my eating, so I was trying to control other parts, like the exercise.
Well, so let's talk about some strategies then. A lot of people will do potluck Thanksgiving. So as a GLP-1 user, if you're bringing something, bring something that's more friendly to what you can eat. So think about it, call ahead, ask your mom, your grandma, whatever else is going on, and bring a vegetable that's more vegetable focused than cream of mushroom soup focused. You guys can watch, we did a Thanksgiving special and I cooked and did a number of dishes. They're all still super delicious. This is not about making diet food. It's not about making sad food. It's about saying, how can I bring something that's healthy and nutritious that is still a part of the Thanksgiving tradition?
One year I did that. I made a pumpkin pie that was a lower sugar. I think it was maybe crustless or something along those lines. And I went to all this trouble and I made it. And then we also had regular pumpkin pie. I didn't want the one I made.
Because you made sad food.
Exactly. And that's what you don't want to do. I didn't eat the pumpkin pie I made. I ate I think your dad ate a piece of the one that I made.
Because he was being nice.
Because he was being nice. But if you're going to do stuff like that, maybe just have what you really wanted in the first place and don't try to eat around it.
Or just bring something. Don't try and make fake versions of things. The thing about fake versions is they're always sad comparisons. So think about something additional you can bring. So a bowl of fruit, a salad. The other night I did baked sweet potatoes that I then mashed with a little bit of butter and a little bit of maple syrup and a little bit of lemon zest. They were delicious. You didn't feel deprived.
No, they were delicious, but they didn't have the gingerbread.
Or marshmallows or all those things on top.
Yeah.
So there's ways to do it. If it's potluck and you're bringing something, do the best you can and try and bring something that will work into what you're doing.
Maybe make substitutions like use Fairlife milk that has more protein, or find a way to get some more protein into your thing, like maybe bring a crudité platter with some hummus. Or,
some vegetables and hummus.
I love hummus, and I'll eat a couple of vegetables with it.
So then what's the strategy for, because a lot of people do family style or buffet. How do you approach that? What are you putting on your plate?
I mentioned that. How do you approach that?
I start with turkey. I start with protein. That's my favorite thing. I start with protein, and I also start the order I'm eating things in with the protein, such that because it's going to fill me up a little quicker, it's going to do that. I always add dressing next because those are my two favorite things. Is that the best GLP-1 answer? Probably not. But you know what?
Eat your favorites.
I'm not going to eat that many bites, so I want to love them. And it's Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday.
Yeah.
And then I'm a big green bean fan. Love green beans. And I'll add, we don't typically do salad, but if we'll do a salad, I'll do some salad and see what other vegetables. Vegetables at Thanksgiving in the South particularly have a tendency to be very fatty, cheesy, scallops.
Green bean casserole.
Yeah, so a lot of times I don't like that much anyway, so it's not depriving me.
Yeah.
And then I'll want some kind of dessert. I'm not a huge pumpkin pie fan. I'll eat a little bit, but if I didn't have it, it wouldn't disappoint me. But I'm starting with protein and then adding vegetables, and then we see what else I can eat.
Yeah, that's a good point too about the protein is eat your protein first. Make sure you have room for your protein. So you want to eat that first. The turkey, any other. People do ham on Thanksgiving.
I like ham too.
Honey baked ham.
Oh, the little crispy bits on the ham.
I love some honey baked ham.
No doubt.
I don't think we're having a honey baked ham this year.
We are not.
Sadness. Yeah.
So the other thing is alcohol is always a question. So typically in ours, and everybody's family does different things, but there may be some wine.
Yes, there's
rarely a
wine.
mixed drink or anything, but usually there's some wine. I'm not really a wine drinker. I will drink it, but I don't care. It's not. If I never had a glass of wine again in my life, it wouldn't matter to me. Yeah. You, however, have always been a wine fan. So what's the approach there?
I do love wine, and I'll drink any flavor, but my favorite is Chardonnay. So prior to GLP-1s, I could drink a bottle easily by myself Thanksgiving Day, starting at noon and going to the evening. And once I started taking GLP-1s, I could not drink. It didn't taste good to me. I didn't want it. I didn't crave it like I used to. It just cut it off. And I could have a little bit, but I really just was not into it. So last year at Thanksgiving, I maybe had a glass or two, but really that was it. Now, I remember one year in the past, my sister and brother-in-law brought orange juice and champagne, and they started on the mimosas like
early
9 a.m. And I'm like, oh yeah, mimosa.
Except you don't like the orange juice to get in the way.
I don't like the orange juice to get in the way of my champagne. So I always say, why do I want to add calories with the orange juice? So they were drinking mimosas, and I was just drinking the sparkling wine or whatever. And then also, and when I'm drinking, I tend to then eat more because it just kind of, I think it increases your appetite when you're drinking. You ever notice that? Like when you
definitely
drink,
lowers your inhibitions there.
lowers your inhibitions, and I feel like I'm able to eat more when I'm like weird. Yeah, but so now a year in on GLP-1s, I can have a glass of wine and it doesn't make me sick anymore. And I enjoy a glass of wine, but I'm not going to drink wine that I don't like. You know what I mean? I'm going to make it a special thing. It's like my feeling with extra treats or fun foods. If I'm going to have a croissant, I want it to be from the French bakery just opened, made by a lady from France who makes the best one around. You know what I mean? I want it to be really good. I want it to be worth
Well,
the
we only
splurge.
eat so many bites and a lot fewer than we used to. So
Yeah, I want
why waste a bite on something that doesn't
Yeah.
taste great?
Yeah, and to that point, if you're eating something, you take a bite and you don't like it, stop eating it.
Mm-hmm.
What a concept, right? Because we're so used to cleaning our plates. I guess that's the take the small portions theory of
And
mine.
there's no such thing as a clean plate club. There are no.
Yeah, but it's hard because you grow up with that and it's in your head. We never told our kids that.
No.
Our kids don't
Well,
have
I mean,
that. But we did.
my father would routinely tell me there were children starving in Africa, and if I
Or
didn't eat,
Insert
I'm
country
like,
here. Yeah.
here, send it to them. Go for it.
Yeah, and you know, that's what their parents told them. It's
But there's no moral win to clean your plate. You have permission to eat as much or as little as you choose to. This is about your agency, your health, your weight, your management. So you make the decisions and set the intention. It's the same thing with alcohol as it is for food. So know what your plan is before you go in. It's not to say
Right.
you can't change it, but I won't drink. It's not that I'm opposed to drinking, but do I care if I have 300 calorie glass of wine? No, I don't care about it that much.
wine is 100 calories per
It could be 2 calories, and I don't care about it that much.
I actually have some, I'm pointing to them because they're over there. I have some Weight Watchers wine glasses that have little lines that go around the glass. So a 3 ounce pour, a 4 ounce pour, and a 5 ounce pour, which I thought back when in my Weight Watchers days might slow me down a little bit. It didn't. But it is good to keep track of how much I'm drinking. And because a glass of wine that you get at a restaurant is a lot less than a glass of wine that you might pour at home. So it's good to know what you're drinking.
So let's talk about the people. Because the challenge of Thanksgiving and the joy of Thanksgiving is the people. Right? For us, if we had 20, 30 people, there's going to be people that are my favorite people there, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, cousins, and there's going to be people that I really don't want to sit next to because they're selling network marketing, they're talking about politics, they're trying to convert me to their religion, they're asking me do I have cancer and because I lost so much weight. There's all these things going on that are just poking you going, ooh, this is the trigger. Maybe you want to eat to get away from this person. How do you cope with all that?
I don't know. There's people, I'm pretty good with all people. I can talk to pretty much anybody. You say I make friends and forever friends in the line at Disney World. I can always...
Yeah, I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people that are your relatives that know your buttons. That are going to do this.
What are my buttons? Do I
Oh,
have
girl,
any
you
buttons?
have buttons, of course. We all have buttons.
Maybe when it comes to politics or something like that, I'm just not going to...
Or weight.
I'm just...
Or weight.
Yeah, but nobody talks to me about my weight at Thanksgiving. My mother might say something to me privately on the side.
But let's imagine they did.
And not for anything, my mother has always been very focused on my weight and trying to help me to lose weight through my childhood and adolescence and even into my adult life. So she's always going to notice if I've lost weight, and she's always going to comment on it, and she's always going to want to know how I'm doing with it, and that's just...
And you know that's pushing your buttons, right?
And I know that's going to happen.
So people are.
Yeah, and I guess as I've gone through this journey, I've taken a different understanding of that, and it's not an attack so much as it is...
A reflection of them?
I hadn't thought of it that way, but I mean, maybe I don't take it so personally anymore, even though it is personal, if that makes sense.
If Uncle Harry's mean to you, what are you going to do?
I don't know. What are you going to do? I know what you're going to do. You and I handle those situations
Well,
regularly.
that's perfectly fine. I mean,
But
that's the way life works.
When someone's mean to you, what do you do or say?
It depends on who they are. It's evolved. Last year, when nobody knew about it, nobody really even noticed. It wasn't that big of a deal. This year, everybody knows about it. They all know about the YouTube channel. They all know about everything. It's all out there. So are there going to be people that ask questions uncomfortably? Probably. Are they going to want to know about side effects? Probably. I will answer those questions, assuming they're polite, to the best of my ability, to a limit. And then an hour or 2 hours, however long it takes into that, I'll be done and I'll go sit in another room.
That's what you did when we were in Chicago. Like when we did our business event in Chicago, and people you hadn't seen in maybe a year were constantly coming up to you saying, "Oh my gosh, Christopher, you've lost so much weight," or "You look great," or "What's going on?" And I could see you answering it the first 5 times, 10 times, and then after that you're like, yeah, I lost some weight.
Yeah, my youngest daughter says her social battery wore out.
Yeah.
So for me, all of these people are fine. I don't dislike any of them. They're all okay. They're our family. I definitely like some of them better than others.
Well, sure.
It's the way life is. But I will gauge the answer to the person. Now, if there's some random new person there that's a punk, then I might go after them, but I don't imagine that actually happening.
Yeah, so I guess when people have asked me over the course of the year, I've just repeated the story so many times now, and we've made so many videos about it now that I'll just tell them the whole story. I'm not even bothered by it. I think the more that you can talk about GLP-1 medications and how they work and how they've worked for you and how you're managing it and all the good it's doing you, there's nothing to be, to me at this point, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. I mean, it has worked so exceptionally well for us that I want people to know about it. And I want even people who don't need them, I want them to be aware of what these medications can do for people who have obesity, because there's a lot of judgment and there's a lot of stigma, and there shouldn't be. These are prescription medications, and they work. And it's just, I just feel like we have so much to overcome with just knowledge and teaching people and stigma, and I don't want there to be.
No, but depending on where you are in your journey, you don't have to give knowledge. You don't have to teach people.
No, you don't.
You can decide how you want to approach those things and reveal as much or as little as you want to. It's your health care. You don't talk about anything else. I don't talk about anything else. Just because they can see your weight doesn't give them permission.
I mean, nobody's coming up and saying, "Oh, Christopher, how's your blood pressure?"
Yeah, so you don't have to.
How's your A1C?
Yeah. And everybody's going to do that differently. And honestly, even for us, how I approach it, how I deal with it might depend on the day or how I feel that day, or honestly, whether I want to give you the time. Because some people, and we'll be at Christmas parties coming up as well, some of those people, I don't have time.
Yeah. And some people maybe are asking because they genuinely want to know and maybe want to know for themselves. And that's why I asked my friend Elaine a couple years ago at a Christmas party, "What are you doing? How did you lose weight?" And she said, "Mounjaro." And I said, "What the hell is Mounjaro and how do I get some?" It might change somebody's life with this information that has never heard of it. Or if you're not ready to disclose it, just say, "Yeah, it's just something I'm working on. I'm working on something with my doctor," or "I'm just focusing on it." The end.
And that's my favorite tip there, is to shift it to a health conversation instead of a weight conversation. Because when people approach you with weight conversations, very often it's shrouded in vanity and pretty and all of these things. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people, that's a huge part of what they're doing. But for me, it's about health.
Right.
It's about taking care of myself. It's about building plans and working with my doctor. And if you shift that conversation to say, "Thanks for asking me, I'm really trying to take care of myself, and my doctor and I are working on a plan to really improve my health," it changes the tone and the manner of the conversation in a dramatic way. The other question, and I've gotten it, actually somebody left it on the YouTube channel the other day, and I hadn't seen it in a while. The other question that you see is, well, aren't you taking medication away from diabetics? And we've done a whole video on answering questions in this series, so we won't go into full depth on that. But the diabetic question, it boggles my mind because, first of all, it's assuming that my healthcare and my medical care is not as important as someone else's, and I don't want to triage. I don't want to say you have more value than I do. The second thing is it passes the buck and makes it my responsibility when it's the manufacturer's responsibility. If my doctor wrote me a prescription to treat my disease, why are you blaming me and not Eli Lilly or Novo Nordisk? Because they ought to be able to keep up. They ought to be able to supply this. So
Right.
It's misdirected anger.
And a year ago, this would have been maybe even a different answer. Maybe not for you, but in my mind, now we have Mounjaro, which is for type 2 diabetes. That's what it's prescribed for. That's what it's used for. And they introduced Zepbound,
And
same
Ozempic
medication.
and Wegovy. Yeah.
But Zepbound is only prescribed for weight loss. So the type 2 diabetics have Mounjaro. The people with obesity have Zepbound. People like me who are not covered, I do compounded tirzepatide. I'm not taken away from anybody. People on Zepbound aren't taken away from people on Mounjaro. And I see that point a lot that pops up online and in conversations. You're taking away medication from diabetics. No, I'm not. No, we're not. And I actually had somebody say that to me in a Weight Watchers meeting back in February. And I got really upset by it because I started talking about being on a GLP-1 medication, and this man came at me and was like, "You're the reason why I can't get my Mounjaro for my type 2 diabetes." And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, people get angry about it,
But
but
again,
don't
it's misdirected.
understand.
Why is it the patient's fault? It's the manufacturer's fault.
People don't think that these drugs are in shortage for now.
Again, not my problem. I didn't do that.
No, I know. It is the manufacturer's fault to some extent. It's not their fault that they're so wildly popular that they can't keep up with the supply. And they are building plants as we speak.
I mean,
to
I
try
just
to
look
meet
at them
that.
and go, it would be great if Eli Lilly would keep up with demand. You should send them a letter. 'Cause
Yeah, but that's really the whole point of you're taking away medicine from diabetes. That's really not a valid point anymore. If
Nope.
it ever was, it's definitely not now. So
talked about food, talked about eating, talked about questions, that sort of thing. Now, here's the more sensitive topic: side effects. And when I say side effects, what happens if I get to grandma's house and my constipation decides to not be constipated, or one of the foods causes diarrhea or nausea, or
shit happens.
shit happens. But it's a concern, right? I'm not at my home. I may not have it. What do I do? How do I work with this?
That's a great question. I don't know. Maybe carry a can of Febreze with you. I don't know.
Depending on where you are in your medication titration, I always tell people the earlier you are in the titration, the more side effects you're going to have. Your body will become acclimated. We're not doctors, not a doctor. But I promise you, 50 weeks in, 50 weeks in, your side effects are diminished. You're not going to have the same problems as consistently. They will randomly still show up, but you're not. So those first 2-3 levels of titration, if there's things that you're sensitive to, I would avoid them if you're at grandma's house. So if a lot of fat, a lot of sweet, a lot of whatever, or at least be very minimal with them because you don't want to cause yourself a problem if you can help it.
For me, my main side effect has been constipation. So I take fiber gummies. I'll travel, take the fiber gummies with me, water. Take your big favorite water cup with you to Thanksgiving, and fill it up while you're having Thanksgiving dinner and through the morning. I forget to drink water sometimes when I'm busy in the house doing other things. Like it's just not a focus. So just make it a priority to get those things in, your fiber, your water. What else?
I mean, and then you know when Thanksgiving is. It's on a Thursday, right? So the side effects, so I have diarrhea and it just comes on, and there's really, other than being careful what you eat, there's not a lot I can do about it. But constipation, if you know you have an issue with it, I would start thinking several days out, such that whatever means you need to, whether it be Mago 7 or Miralax or whatever,
Yeah.
you might want to do that a couple days before, such that you're all ready to go, right? You don't get to Thanksgiving and go, oh, I'm uncomfortable, or oh, it's going to come out, or whatever.
Yeah, that's definitely.
But, a little pre-planning, some preventative stuff is good
preventative
there.
measures would be good.
Particularly for those that, like, we're driving 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Although there are plenty of restrooms you don't want to.
Some of them you don't want to stop at between here and my mama's house.
You do not want to stop at them.
Middle of nowhere, South Carolina.
Just takes a little bit of thought, a little bit of planning. You'll be okay. It's all good.
You ever seen that poo-pourri stuff?
Yeah.
Where you spray it before you.
My mother always carried matches in her purse for that.
She did.
I never realized why she did for years, and she had a lot. We have hereditary bowel issues going on there. But I'm like,
Durham
Mom, you don't smoke. Why do you have matches?
Matches.
She's, in case that's too smelly, I can.
Oh, yeah, I'd be afraid I'd set off a fire alarm or
You
something.
don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the holidays, it can be anxious. It can be, whether it be from the food or the people or whatever, but with a little bit of pre-planning, you'll be okay, right? It's nothing
not
to
the end of
overcome.
nothing like that's going to be the end of the world anyway. I mean, everybody poops, so,
Well, and the great thing is, we've discovered with these medications, so you eat a little bit more, it didn't make me a good person or a bad person. And you come back, you just buckle down again, and you're going to lose the weight.
After the holiday, we'll get back to our normal eating. I'll get back to my normal exercise routine. I'll focus on things a little bit more. And this is just our life now. So I'm not going to, I want to be able to live and enjoy things and enjoy time with family the way that we want to, and not always be so worried about food and my weight. So I want it to just kind of, especially at family events, focus on family and not, am I going to gain 2 pounds this weekend? Because in the scheme of things, it doesn't matter. And I know I have compounded tirzepatide on my side. Like one of Tristan that we interviewed says, I have my coach, my tirzepatide is in the fridge. I have it in the fridge. I know it's there. I know it's going to help me. And I know I don't have to do this on my own.
And you walk into a Thanksgiving dinner, a buffet, a family style meal, and that food noise is gone or greatly diminished, it will ease the selection. It will make it easier for you to say what is best for you. Mm-hmm. Because prior to that, the answer was everything.
Everything.
And yours too.
I'm
going to take a nap and then I'm coming back.
Yeah. And also keep in mind, you only have so many bites you can take before your body's going to say, stop on this medication. You only have so many bites. Get your protein in first. Get some foods that you like a little bit that you never have any other time of the year, because this is the time of year to do it. And, make those bites count. And then stop when you're full.
Yep.
What a concept.
I mean, so to close it out, it's the whole eating thing, Thanksgiving, holidays. That's a great piece of advice. My other piece of advice, tip, you will have it is, have a friend, a family member, a sister, a brother, a buddy to work with you in these situations, such that I always pay attention to my darling wife. And if somebody's feeding her wine, I'm like, have some water. If somebody's being a jerk and asking too many inappropriate questions about food or what have you, you just step in and say, hey, what about the football team you like? Or sometimes it's about distracting and taking care of people. Change
Yeah.
the subject, but if you're working together, you can help each other. Find that person that can help you out too, because odds are you're there with a bunch of people. So what other tips would you have?
Take a family walk after eating.
Yeah, that's good. I saw somebody on TikTok talking about the cousin walk. All the cousins would
that's
go out
fun.
and walk around the block.
That's fun. You know, my brother-in-law, Butch, he always brings a football to every family gathering. So he'll take all the kids out and they'll throw the football around and play a little pickup game or whatever. Maybe have an activity that you can do if you have nice weather like we do in the South, hopefully, on Thanksgiving. Maybe get outside and throw around a ball or walk around the block, or if you're somewhere where it's snowy or it's cold outside, maybe have some non-food focused activities like a game or some cards or something like that.
My kids love to play games with the family. You can get them all around the table, whether it be cards or dominoes or Monopoly or doesn't matter. They love all that stuff.
My
So
mom loves dominoes.
you know, and it gets them distracted. It gets them talking about something else. It gives them something
Yeah.
else to do.
Other than eating.
So that's our conversation on GLP-1s versus holiday eating, who wins. And the answer to who wins is you. So you can absolutely go into Thanksgiving and have a great time, eat some great food, and enjoy yourself and maintain your weight loss adventure on GLP. It's absolutely possible and you can do it.
You can.
If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Click the bell button. It'll notify you every time we post a video or go live on a random Thanksgiving Thursday. Who knows? You never know.
We're not going to
Probably not, but probably not.
We'll be busy.
She'll get mad at me if we do that.
And then
but
all our relatives will want to be on the live too.
they'll want to be on the live too.
Maybe we should do a live and interview them with. No,
Sounds
we're not gonna do
terrifying.
that. There's no telling. There's no telling.
No telling
Or
what kind of random
we
thing
could
they would
have
say.
them ask questions. Give us your top question about GLP-1, like from a. No.
Our children would rebel.
Oh, that's true. They wouldn't
They
appreciate.
would for sure rebel.
Okay, we won't do that.
Anyway, thank you.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you for joining us. My name is
Please
Christopher Durham,
I'm Laraine Durham.
and we are the Downsized.
Thank you.
See you next time.